Hi guys, welcome to this new vlog. In this vlog I'm going to present to you this 2016 BMW X1, which is the replacement car for the 2013 Volvo V40 D2, which as you saw in the last vlog has been handed in. Just to do a short recap, life is always changing. There is a new job for my wife, we have a dog, the kids are growing up, and we had to hand in the XC40, my previous company car. So due to also the reduced amount of mileage my wife is going to drive, it wasn't longer viable to drive a diesel car. You have to remember, in the Netherlands diesel cars are taxed quite heavily, so you need to drive at least 25,000 kilometers in order to make it a cheaper alternative to the petrol version. So with all these things changing, we went out looking for a different car, and my wife pretty much liked the Volvo XC40 I previously had, so we went looking for a compact size SUV. Basically the limits my wife gave me were a 2018 model or later, an SUV, and well, she already did some research. We came along cars like the Seat Ateca and different cars like the Volkswagen Tiguan. But then she said, I'd like to have your opinion. So we went also looking for a BMW X1. Some of you might know that I'm actually quite a big fan of a blue car. And we found this 2016 model at a Volvo dealership in the Netherlands for a very good price. And it had 135,000 kilometers on the clock. So we went looking to the car, and apart from all kinds of minor things you're going to find on an 8-year-old car, we decided to purchase this car. So just to sum up some specs, it's a 2016 model. That's the year when this generation of X1 was introduced. It has a blue color. I don't know from top of my head what's it called like. But as you can see in the sun, it's absolutely lovely, and it has called a Centennial Executive Package in the Netherlands. I don't think they use it somewhere else. So you got some light alloy wheels, and I'm pretty happy that they're not too big, these wheels. So the curbside damage will be limited, and if you need new tires, costs will be moderately. We have the LED headlighting in this car. It has the X-Line package, which has some chrome accenting in the front, on the side and in the back. This car has a panoramic sunroof, LED headlighting. It has a rear park distance control, a small sat nav. It has sports seats. It has a leather cloth combination. So it has an automatic gearbox. That was something which my wife also appreciated a lot about the XC40. So when we went to the Volvo dealership, test drove the car, I asked a friend of mine at BMW to do a check in the system about this car, and it was a one owner car for 8 years. It was privately owned. It was always maintained at the BMW dealership at the regular prescribed intervals. And again, as it was sold at the BMW or at the Volvo dealership, I had a pretty good feeling about this car, that it was trustworthy. So we pointed out a few issues, most importantly that the cover of the panoramic sunroof was hanging, and they all fixed it, and we traded in our Volvo V40 at this dealership. They gave us quite a good price. I mean, we got 3,250 euros for an 11-year-old car with 335,000 kilometers on the clock. So that's a pretty good price, and they already had this car standing for half a year, so they already reduced the price a lot on this car. So we got it for 20,000 euros, and you can't find a comparable X1 for that price in the Netherlands. So I can't really call it a first impression vlog anymore, because we had it for 12 days now. and I already drove it towards a holiday destination and back, so I already drove this car for over 2,000 kilometers. But on the other hand, that gives me some room to see and feel and talk about what my feelings are about this car. So we'll continue this in the next section. So I'm now inside of the X1. Please forgive me the wind noise from the climate control, but it's a very hot day in the Netherlands today, so I just let the car run to get some air conditioning. Otherwise in the sun it will heat up quite fast. Just to go through the features, we already talked a bit about the features in the clip outside. We have this small LED screen here, we have the small sat nav here, we have the automatic climate control dual zone here, and the thing which I do miss, or my wife will miss, is this is the seat heating, but that's not that bad. As you can see, these are combination of leather and cloth, so in the winter you won't hit such a rock bottom cold leather seat, but the cloth will keep you warm. As you can also see, we're having sport seats in this car. Here we're having the automatic gearbox. Oh, one thing I didn't mention earlier was that the engine in this car, it's an sDrive20i, which means it's front wheel drive. Correct me please in the comments if I'm wrong. And it has a 4-cylinder engine with 192 HP. And that's one thing I preferred over the 3-cylinder engines. Just from my gut feeling is that the 3-cylinder engines won't last as long as the 4-cylinder engine. So I'm very glad we could get the bigger engine, the 4-cylinder engine in this car. It has an alarm system, auto dimming rear view mirrors, and the interior mirror is also auto dimming. As you can see, we have the big ass panoramic sunroof here. I'm not sure if this is the standard steering wheel or this is the sports steering wheel, but what I do know is, and that's an option, we have the seated steering wheel here, which is nice for the cold days. But don't ask me why people would choose the heated steering wheel but not choose for the heated seats. Probably it's only a package thing, and people didn't really put thought into it. So yes, that sums up the option wise the car here. And then I'll go to my first impressions of this car. As I said, I already drove it for 11 to 12 days. Drove it used it for our holiday, summer holiday. So we went towards Germany, and we used, we were with 2 adults, 3 children and 1 dog. And from my personal feeling is that this car has a bit more space than the XC40, and I didn't look up the numbers, it's just my feeling, but there was more room. Of course this is just a normal petrol car, so there's more space in the back to store things, but also in the width I have the feeling that the car is bigger. It handles very nicely. It drives superb. It's comfortable for it was a 700 kilometer drive. No, I'm lying, it's a 600 kilometer drive we drove. It did it perfectly. And I noticed on the it was delivered from the Volvo dealership with a full tank. I mean, Volvo, although it was an older car, not the Volvo brand itself, the Volvo dealership really did a superb job in delivering this car with a full tank. We got a bottle of wine, we got 2 model cars for the kids. Yes, we have 3 kids, but one is really small, so she doesn't play with cars yet. But they really did a top-notch service for this car, and probably they're doing it for if we're going to looking for a new car in a few years, that hopefully they'll also get us as a customer back. So no, it was a superb job what Volvo did delivering this car to us. Anyhow, what I wanted to talk about, driving this car on this petrol tank for Euro 95, which has 10% bioethanol. I'm not sure what it's called in English. I could drive 700 kilometers on one tank, and in Germany I put in this car Super Plus, which has a higher octane level, and I was able to drive 800 kilometers on one tank. And that's one thing I also already noted with my 320i years ago. If you put in the more expensive fuel, your car runs better, and if you then break down the cost, it's not that much more expensive fuel cost wise per kilometer. But many people are saying, oh no, I'm not paying 10-15 euros more for a full tank, and not looking towards the benefits, that it's almost no extra charge. But I'll hope, and I'll try to put as much premium fuel into this car as possible. So yeah, I'm happy with the range on this car. The performance is good. The automatic gearbox is just a smooth gearbox. I appreciate that a lot. The space is very well in this car, and yeah, I'm quite happy with this purchase. And let's also see how reliable this car will be in the coming years. Oh yeah, and there's one very important thing for my impression wise, which I wanted to note. In the past 1 year, 1.5 years, I've driven the Mercedes-Benz A-Class, a 2019 model, the 2020 XC40, the 2023 Audi A3, and the 2024 BMW 5 Series. And one thing I noticed with all these cars, which is a trend nowadays, is that the screens are just getting bigger, and there are many more options to how to configure the screens and what you can do with all the screens, and how the car is steered from the heating and everything. Much more is put into these screens, and there are much more options from information wise. And what already annoyed me, and maybe I mentioned it in one of the vlogs, was this overload on information and overload on possibilities. Now going back to this car, which is a bit more simpler. I mean, in the years 2008 to 2018, you can view it by the videos I made on this channel. I drove a lot of cars in this time frame. And what I appreciate a lot about this car is the simplicity of its infotainment operations. You just have one screen which has limited options, but everything I need is like a sat nav, and then steer the phone and the multimedia system, and I can do it through one screen. I don't need to have like 3 or 4 places telling me a combination of all the information, where I need to drive to, which music is on, car data, and whatever they pack into one screen at this time. I love the simplicity, and I don't miss anything in this car compared to the more modern cars regarding information wise and how to control the things. I mean, I was always a big fan of the iDrive system. I mean, it feels just very natural for me, and these limited options on how to display information. I mean, basically this is everything I can show, but it shows me everything I need. I mean, this is my preferred setting. How far can I drive on this tank? How much did the car run in total? What's the outside temperature, and what's the daytime count, or whatever they call it. I mean, that's all I want to know. And in modern BMWs, I can't get this combination of information. I can configure a shitload of things in the driver's screen, but I can't get the information in one screen which I want to. So yeah, I think it has gone too far, this development in modern day cars, and I appreciate the simplicity of the infotainment operation and how the information is displayed. So it doesn't for me feel like a step backwards. It's actually a step forward, going to this older generation BMW, then driving in the more modern BMW, but I mean, the Volkswagen also has the same problem with overload, and Audi and whatever most modern cars do. So that's one important thing I'd wanted to put or point out also. And that basically is wrapping up this first impression vlog. Of course, if there's any noteworthy vlog to be made on this car, you'll be informed about this. Thank you very much for watching. I'd appreciate it a lot if you comment in the videos below, if you subscribe, and if you hit thumbs up. That really makes it for me worthwhile to continue my channel, to get this feedback. And see you next time.